Hi Claudia, welcome to Aphasia Snapshots, chat with an expert.
Hi, Susan, and thanks for the invitation. That's lovely.
Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Claudia Peñaloza. My position here at the University of Barcelona is Ramón y Cajal Researcher. I'm a neuropsychologist by background, and my research is really focused on aphasia research. I'm interested in multilingualism and aphasia recovery.
What's something people may get wrong about aphasia in bilingual speakers?
That people may assume that language impairment in bilingual people with aphasia is very similar to what we observe in people who only speak one language. And that's really not the case because languages in people who are bilinguals may have different levels of acquired proficiency before their brain impairment, right? And therefore, the impairment may be differential across those languages after the acquired brain injury.
What recommendations can you give to clinicians providing services to bilingual people with aphasia?
Is to have a very comprehensive assessment of the language abilities of the person who is the bilingual speaker with aphasia across their language abilities, across their spoken languages, right? If they were speakers of, say, 2 or 3 languages prior to their acquired brain injury, we want to know what are their preserved and impaired language abilities in those languages, because as I mentioned before, those might be different across languages. And so that's very important to have a better prognosis and also a better personalized rehabilitation plan.
If bilingual aphasia were a movie, what would it be called?
Someone stole my words, but I will try to find them.
That's very powerful. Can you tell a few words about your recent research findings? What you do recently?
Paper that recently came out. It's a study where we gave a sequential anomia treatment to a person who was a trilingual person with aphasia who spoke French, English, and Spanish. And then we provided naming treatment for the 3 languages sequentially. What we found, very briefly in a nutshell, is that only the weakest language, that is the French, which was treated the first, showed a very general and low-level improvements. The other 2 languages did not really benefit from treatment. But what we observed additionally is that there was some degree of cross-language interference, rather, which is the fact that when we were treating French and then French was showing some degree of improvement, we also observed some degree of interference in the English at the same time. So English became, to some extent, less available during the treatment itself. We were also interested in cross-language intrusions, that is, when we are testing naming abilities in one language during the treatment. Then what we observed is that this person was also naming pictures that we were showing during the treatment in the other languages that were not required to be used at that moment, that we were not testing her abilities in. So that sort of indicates for us that this person was perhaps having a better access to those lexical entries, to those words in the other languages that were also treated. It was just the problem, so to speak, was that it was not the right moment to use that particular language, right?
Yeah.
So to some extent, this is telling us of probably some degree of compensation, a compensatory strategy that this person was using to be able to retrieve these items that we had trained. Yeah.
Super insightful. Thank you so much for your work. Do you want to say goodbye in your own language?
Gracias por la invitación y espero vernos pronto para hablar mucho más de investigación en afasia.
Gracias.